Yvette wants to talk about Connor Lamb. For those of you that don't know, I'd imagine most of you do. For those of you that don't, Connor Lamb is the congressional candidate who won a special election over in Pennsylvania's 18th district against Rick Placone. So let's talk about it. I do have some stuff to say about it, and we're going to have to you guys are going to have to bear with me and unpack this with me. And as Joe points out, he barely won. He won by, I believe, about 470 votes. So here's the thing. First of all, and as Joe points out, that margin of victory should have been bigger. So I got to be honest with you guys. I have a personal, kind of a personal connection here, which is why I have not been tweeting very much about Connor Lamb. Connor Lamb went to my high school. He was a year ahead of me in school. And so I have some friends, some close friends even, that worked on that campaign. So, you know, on a personal level, I'm happy for them. It's hard not to be. These are people that I grew up with and have known most of my life, like literally like about 3/4 of my life or more. So it's impossible not to be happy for them. Of course, I'm happy for them. Also, he beat a despicable Republican. I mean, you know, it's not like, you know, because Connor Lamb's political positions are not necessarily what I would like or anywhere close to it. We're going to get to that next. But it's not like he beat some progressive. He beat a despicable Republican who I would say was definitely worse than him. So on a personal level, you know, I'm happy for them. However, on the other side of that, looking at it objectively and from a standpoint of strategy, Connor Lamb is not progressive at all. Connor Lamb is he's anti-choice, even personally. He's one of those like, leave it up to the states, let the people decide, it's a right, but I'm personally opposed to it, which, by the way, that's what most Republicans say, by the way. He's against single payer. He's against living wages. He's pro-drilling. He is, let's see. I mean, he's not really for a Green Deal. I mean, here's the thing. The last time Connor Lamb ran in something that I was cognizant of, it was, again, when we were in high school. When we were in high school, Connor Lamb ran for student council president. In student council president elections, you can't really tell the candidates apart, so you just vote for the person that you like the most. I never thought that all these years later he would win a congressional race running under the same principles. I mean, it's really, there's not much that made him different from his Republican opponent, but he did win a popularity contest, barely. And what it sends to the Democratic Party and what it sends to the establishment and the public in general is the wrong message. I even saw in a USA Today article that said now Democrats are inspired and mobilized that they can run anywhere in Trump country if they just run on anti-Trump fatigue. People are so tired of Trump, they're going to vote for the Democrat. Meaning we're going to run the center-right candidates because people hate Trump that much that just not being Trump, not being a Republican is enough to win. Not only is that not what the Democratic Party should be doing, because it doesn't really help with any real change, but it's also not even true. Here's the thing about Connor Lamb's district. Connor Lamb's district included some rural counties in Westmoreland County and Greene County. The name of the counties aren't important, but those are rural counties outside of the city of Pittsburgh. It also included part of Allegheny County, which is, you know, around the city of Pittsburgh, which is basically a city population, city dwelling. Allegheny County went largely for Hillary Clinton. It is a largely Democratic county. The surrounding counties, not so much. The results of Lamb's race reflected that. He did incredibly good in the county that was in the city, and it was just enough that he won the election. So basically, this is more or less what the Democrats have already done. Hillary dominated in the city. She dominated in Pittsburgh and Philadelphia. It's the rest of the state where she did terrible. Connor Lamb's results are a smaller version of that. He dominated in the city. In the surrounding areas, not so much. But he had just enough in the city to win the election. Unless every single congressional race mirrors that demographic. That formula where Democrats are going to be like, hey, we're not Trump, that's enough to win. It's not going to work. So is Trump fatigue enough to win some? Yes, it's enough to win some. And if you have no message, and if you're very little, if you're hardly different from your Republican opponent, Trump fatigue might be enough to win in a district where you have just enough of a city center that it can carry you. Or if your opponent is a pedophile, you might be marginally more popular enough to win. Again, both of these victories were by less than 2 percentage points. So, you know, and this is going to be what the Democrats run on in 2018. Because, again, the Democratic establishment, the first priority is stopping progressive change. Their second priority is maybe beating a Republican. In some cases, you get to have both. In the case of Connor Lamb, you're going to get to have both. Now, does Connor Lamb seem like a reasonable guy? Yeah, he does. And from my memories of him, he seems like a nice guy. Is he better than the Republican? Yeah. I'd rather have him in there than Sacchione. However, is this incremental approach really going to lead to some bigger victories in 2018 and 2020? I don't think so. And statistically, it doesn't. I mean, it's not like people keep talking about how deep red the district was and so forth, but it's like there was a large portion of Allegheny County, which, again, was largely pro-Hillary, has always gone Democrat. And keep in mind, it's not like Pennsylvania is some deep red state. Pennsylvania went red for the first time during the presidential. This was the first time since 1988. Is Pennsylvania a swing state? Yeah. But it's definitely a blue-shaded swing state. So, you know, and again, I do have a personal connection here. I am happy for my friends. I do see a difference between Connor Lamb and the Republican. However, when you break it down policy-wise, unfortunately, the difference is not that big. And this type of incremental approach is not going to lead to some quote-unquote blue wave. It really isn't. And if the blue wave is just a bunch of Doug Jones who always vote with the Republicans anyway, what's the difference? So those are my thoughts on it. And again, I'm happy for some of my friends. It's impossible not to be. I do think he's better than the Republican. However, this whole, well, now Dems know that people are so sick of Trump, they can win anywhere. And the only message you need is, hey, we're not Trump. Somebody else posted this on Facebook. And I forget who, and I'm going to paraphrase what they said, but they said, look, our job is not to run center-right candidates and hope that people are so sick of Trump that they vote for that center-right candidate. Our job is to transcend progressive messaging into the heartland. That's the difference. And yes, that can be done. I'm not calling for a pony or instant abs. I'm calling for something that can and has been done. You know who's done it? Bernie Sanders. You know who's done it on a smaller level? Laura Moser in the heart of Texas. It can be done. You know who's doing it in Virginia? Justin Santo-Pietro. It can be done. People are connecting with populism in the heartland. That's part of the reason Trump won. He ran under the guise of a Republican populist, which is an oxymoron, but he sold people the snake oil and they bought it. If a fake populist can win in the heartland, a real populist can win in the heartland. So those are my take on that. You know, I'm happy for my friends. I think Connor is a nice, reasonable guy that I hope can be, that I hope he can evolve on some things. Maybe he will, maybe he won't. But this incremental approach is not a long-term path to victory. And, the Democratic establishment wants to pretend it is, because they don't want to really do an autopsy on their party, because that's not donor friendly. They want to continue more of the same, be donor friendly, and maybe beat a Republican here and there.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. That was a clip from Get Your News On with Ron, the world's first viewer-curated streaming news show. What does that mean? That means I log on to a stream and people tweet me articles over on Twitter at Ron Placone, or they use our Reddit subsection, which is just Get Your News On with Ron over on Reddit. And that's how we build the show. I'm seeing all these articles for the first time. We are literally getting our news on together. Follow me on Twitter at Ron Placone so you can participate. And this show streams live every Tuesday through Friday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So please do tune in. If you want to support this show, you can do so over on patreon.com/Ron Placone, where for as low as $1 a month, you get access to exclusive podcasts every week, exclusive videos, free tickets to shows when I'm performing in your town, and more for as low as $1 a month. Please do consider it. Thank you so much for your support. This has been Get Your News On with Ron.